Yesterday, I did my recap video of the recent PlayStation event where they showed off their new handheld and a bunch of games as well. If you want to check that out, there is a link in the description down below. But I think that there was a piece of information that I didn't know about at the time that I was making that video. And I'm actually glad that I didn't know about it at the time, because I feel like it's a topic that absolutely deserves its own video, because I feel like it can have a big effect on the industry as a whole. And it has to do with the new Alan Wake game, which is coming out this fall. You see, this is not going to affect me personally, but I know that it's going to have a huge effect on a lot of people and whether or not they play this game. And I feel like it could also be a canary in the coal mine. So today, I want to talk about physical media versus digital games. And before we get started, I want to know what you all think. So leave a comment down below. Do you play your games mostly physically or mostly digitally? Go ahead, leave a comment. I'll wait. All right, I've seen that. Seen it. There is absolutely nothing to watch.
Well, you like Raid Shadow Legends, right?
Yeah, why?
They actually just released a new show called Call of the Arbiter.
Wait, they got a show? Why didn't anybody tell me? How do I watch it?
Yeah, you can watch episode 1 in the game right now.
Oh, it's in the game? Hang on, let me grab my phone. I really like the animation. Okay, this character, Gaelic, actually seems pretty interesting. I really like his look and the look of his dad. I need to watch more of these.
Well, they're dropping new episodes at 10 a.m. every Thursday between now and July 20th, but it's a limited series, so you're going to want to watch them before they're actually gone.
Oh, check this out.
They're adding a bunch of in-game updates and champions.
New champion bios, a bunch of new cool stuff, and people can even get Artak, one of the new characters from the show. All you have to do is log into Raid for 7 days between now and July 24th.
And also check out the link in the description.
And you can get them for free. And if you have yet to start playing the game, you can just use my QR code, which is over there right now. And you can get a free starter pack with some cool in-game loot as well. Let's rip the Band-Aid off here. Alan Wake 2, a game that I am very excited for, and I'm still absolutely going to buy when it comes out later on this year, is going to be a digital-only release. There will not be a physical version of Alan Wake 2 at all. So why is this happening? Well, let's go to the FAQ over at alanwake.com. Why is it a digital-only release? Here's what they have to say. There are many reasons for this. For one, a large number have shifted to digital only. You can buy a Sony PS5 without a disc drive and Microsoft's Xbox Series S as a digital-only console. It is not uncommon to release modern games as digital-only. And while I do agree with that there's many digital-only games out there, I don't know how often this happens with big AAA games that are not games as a service style games. Like big AAA single player games, most of those games get a box in the store that you can go and pick up and bring home. What else did they say? Secondly, not releasing a disc helps us keep the price of the game at $60 or for the console version, or $50 for the PC version. Now, for that, I would say it makes perfect sense from the PC end, because you don't get PC games in physical form anymore. And I'm sure that somebody's going to be typing away in the comments, but Bill, last year this game sold as a boxed copy for PC. I'm sure that there are exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, PC gaming has gone the way of digital only for a really, really long time. So I don't think that really holds water there. Now, as far as keeping the price at $60 for consoles, that actually does make a little sense to me. But at the same time, when we started getting digital games, I always said these games should be cheaper. They should be cheaper than $60, not maintaining the same price, because by not shipping the game to a store, they're not spending money on manufacturing these things. They are not spending money on putting them on boats and on trucks to get them, around the world, and they're not taking up shelf space. So keeping that price down should be passed on to the consumer. Obviously, that never happened. But I do understand that in a time when games are raising their prices to $70, and that could be a completely different discussion here, keeping their game, this big AAA release, at $60 and using that as a reason to not ship a physical version, that doesn't really bother me all that much. Moving on. They said, finally, we did not want to ship a disc product and have it require a download for the game. We do not think this would make for a great experience either. What exactly do they mean by that? Well, there's been plenty of times where you've gone to a store, you've bought a disc, you bring the disc home, you put it into your system, and then you still have to do like this massive download because they couldn't fit all of the information on the disc. The Nintendo Switch is notorious for this because they use those cartridges, and the cartridges are really, really expensive compared to making a Blu-ray to store your game on. The cartridges are really expensive, so a lot of companies will not store all of the game on the cartridges in order to get a cheaper cartridge that has less storage. So I'm glad that they didn't do that mode. That being said, is there going to be a disc version ever for Alan Wake? And it says there are currently no plans to release Alan Wake 2 on disc. Let's talk about why publishers want to get away from physical media. And there's going to be 1,000 people typing comments down below that are like, greed, greed, greed. Listen, everybody, nobody gets into this business. No publishers get into this business because they just love making games. That's not what publishers are about. Publishers are about making money. That is their job, is to make money. Yes, programmers, game designers get into the business because they would love making games, but they don't make money decisions ever. So why is it that these companies are trying to get rid of physical media? Well, there's a bunch of reasons that are in their favor. Number one, like I said before, it costs them a whole lot less money to actually make the game, because instead they're just sending bits over the internet rather than putting a disc in a box and shipping that disc all over the world. On top of that, it really cuts down on trade-ins, because you cannot trade in or resell your digital games. There's no good way to do that yet. I don't think that there ever will be, unless there's like a law passed, but there's currently no really good way for you to resell your digital games. Once you own them, they are yours, which means you cannot sell them back to GameStop, and then GameStop cannot turn around and resell that game to somebody else, holding on to all of that profit that the game companies that made those games never actually get to see. Getting rid of the shipping problems and the fact that trade-ins can't happen anymore means that these companies are going to make so much more money. So of course, they're going to want to move to a more digital format, because they're going to make way more money that way. Which is why I've often argued in the past that games should be cheaper if they're digital only, but I digress. This is a battle that I feel like has already been fought and over in the PC space. That ship has sailed. There, of course, I'm sure that there are outliers, but for the most part, there's no way you're getting physical copies of games for your PC. I mean, how many of you actually still have a disk drive in your PC? I know that I don't. But that's not really what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about console and the idea of console moving to a digital-only format, with Alan Wake as the latest canary in the coal mine. After finding out that Alan Wake 2 wasn't going to have a physical version, I was really disappointed. Not for me, because I don't care about physical media, and there's going to be people who always get mad at me about that, and I don't want to argue about that right now. Everybody gets to make their own decisions and have their own opinions. I personally prefer the convenience of not having to go find a disc when I want to play a game. If that's not you, if you want to have that disc, that's perfectly fine. And you can shout at me in the comments section about ownership of games, and I'll probably reply and say you don't actually own the games that are on disc anyway. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that I was disappointed anyway. I was disappointed because I know that there's a lot of people out there that physical media is important to. And there's a lot of people out there that don't live in an area that has really good internet. And there's a lot of people out there that live in areas where bandwidth is limited, not just because it's slow, but because they're not allowed to use the bandwidth, like it's limited by the ISP for some ridiculous reason. And they are limited as to how much they can download each month. So for those people, physical media is incredibly important because they can go to the store and put the disc in and be able to play the game without having to worry, oh, I downloaded this much this month. I guess I got to wait until next month to pick up this game because I don't want to go over my limit and then get charged extra money. It's just really not a good situation for people like that. So I feel like the idea that Alan Wake 2 going only digital, this big AAA release, I feel like it is a slap in the face to everybody out there, not just who likes physical media, but for who physical media is a necessity. So the question that I'm asking all of you is, did this change your mind about Alan Wake 2? Because for me, it absolutely didn't change my mind. I'm still going to pick up that game. It's the perfect Halloween-themed game for later on this year, and I'm hyped for it. And I'm already been mostly digital anyway. But for those of you who were really excited for this game, but you were planning on buying it as a physical copy because either you collect it or you want to have the ability to resell it, does this change the math for you? Does this does this make you say, you know what, I'm not going to get this now because I don't want to get digital games. I don't want to support the digital only future that Bill seems to think is inevitable. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, and you probably enjoyed this video too. From the Nerd Nest, I'm Bill. Stay rad, everybody.